I am Brian.
I am Julius.
This is the Ascendant Project. The mission of the Ascendant Project is to explore the political positions in individuals. A contributor writes a 750-word article and then gets interviewed.
The purpose of the interview is to bring out other views and hopefully life experiences that sent the author down the path to the position expressed.
Although some debate will undoubtedly occur, this is not intended to be a forum for debate, but rather a project to better explore the individual and the American experience as a whole.
All opinions and views expressed, written or verbal, are solely the ownership of the one who expressed them. The Ascendant Project does not hold or endorse any views or opinions. Re-affiliated by Julius Knapp. This will not be a typical essay. The Ascendant Project, while political in nature, is really about empathy. It's not about debate or judgment. It's about connection and growth. By sharing our stories and listening to others, we learn to adopt new perspectives and better understand the American experience. But we also learn about ourselves. When Brian first approached me about this grand idea, I'll admit it seemed a little self-serving. It was the early days of the pandemic and the last several of President Trump's first term. Without getting into the specifics, there was a lot going on in America at the time. The public was bitterly divided, politics had torn families apart, and any attempt at concession or compromise was met with righteous indignation. I knew Brian's politics and knew how strongly he felt. I thought it could only be arrogance or ignorance that could make him think that this project would ever succeed. Still, I wanted to believe and hoped that the unaffiliated skeptic within me would help temper his passion. To my pleasure and surprise, either because of or despite me, it worked. But I also learned at least as much about myself as I did about Brian, Nick, or Susan. I am an agent of chaotic good, the agnostic contrarian, and the generous skeptic. I have written about my time as an unaffiliated voter, my more than 20 years protest of the two-party system. I hoped that my protest would spread and that a critical mass of unaffiliated voters would eventually force Maryland to at least hold open primaries. Again, to my pleasure and surprise, either because of or despite me, it worked. The end. Of course, I'm kidding. Maryland does not currently, nor is it preparing to hold open primaries. Over the years, I've struggled to understand why. Why don't more people recognize the utility of this strategy? Why don't more people recognize the futility of the status quo? I've listened to so many people on all sides, and in nearly every case, I see the manufactured divisions and the imagined slights that keep us from being truly great. Had I just not found the right words to explain, to unite? It's taken some time, but I think I have finally arrived at the answer. And once I had that answer, I realized I was just as guilty as everyone else. The simple realization is that nearly everyone believes they are either Democrat or Republican, or independent or green, or bread and roses, or unaffiliated. That is, their party is part of their identity. Before I continue, let me state unequivocally, your party is not part of your identity. You are you. You affiliate yourself with a party, but that party does not somehow make you the person you are. A cursory examination of the history of American political parties reveals that the parties change frequently. They are constantly posturing and positioning themselves to cover as much of the electorate as they can. Political principles be damned. Identity politics, the idea that one is a Republican or Democrat, and not just a member of that party, is what allows that posturing and positioning to perpetuate. And like it or not, even as a proudly unaffiliated voter, I too had adopted a sort of political identity. If I truly want to balance the system, I can't stand in the middle. It's for that reason that I can now say that I am a Republican. I registered several weeks ago, in fact. To be clear, this is not an attempt to subvert the Republican Party or weaken the Democratic Party. I have, will, and always vote according to my principles. As an unaffiliated voter, I realized early that I would have to implement some rules or guiding principles to remain as unaffiliated as possible. They are primary sources only. Published works written by the candidate or extended interviews conducted with the candidate are preferred. Speeches or debates are acceptable, but care must be taken to filter out performances. Absolutely no secondary sources. This includes the news and most especially editorials and commentary. Number 2, evaluate candidates for integrity, humility, and accountability. That's it. Try not to get caught up in specific policies or personalities. An honest effort in consultation with the community is my minimum. Extra consideration is given to candidates who actually organize, not rally, their own constituents themselves to make an impact in their community. Most importantly, though, I want it in writing, so I can hold them accountable during the next election cycle. And finally, number 3, share your candidate choices publicly with family and friends. This cannot be exposition, however. This is strictly to maintain my own integrity, humility, and accountability. I won't ask my chosen candidate to be more virtuous than me. These principles will continue to guide me as a Republican. And if the Republican Party leadership is listening, this is how I will grade the candidates you support. Not by their politics, not by their character, and not by their opposition, but by their integrity, humility, and accountability. Now, one might ask, why Republican? Don't Democrats have problems exemplifying those qualities also? Well, yes, they do. I decided to register as a Republican because, in Maryland, the Republican Party does not provide significant financial support. And let's face it, being a person of integrity, humility, and accountability is not a recipe for wealthy candidates who can self-fund their own campaign. Candidates of that caliber need the financial backing, campaign organization, and political connections of some party, Republican or Democrat, to succeed. And I expect a person of integrity, humility, and accountability will resist the temptation to be corrupted by power. I hope that the Republican Party will invest more time, people, and resources into Maryland to support quality candidates. We all depend on it. Now, proper skeptics will think, one person cannot possibly cause this to happen on their own. And the more cynical and spiteful will think, this is clearly an attempt to liberalize the Republican Party. I'll just register as a Democrat to cancel out the effort. To these objections, I say, try me, maybe, and please do. Again, your political party is not a part of your identity. As long as you stick to your principles, I trust you. We are Americans and we're in this together. And if one person can change this skeptic's mind, maybe there's a chance we can succeed.
Ding, ding.
Ding, ding.
Yeah.
Round 2.
Round 2. No false start of this one.
Right.
All right. So I am not going to be interviewing you today, Julius.
No, you will not.
Today, my mom, Susan Smyers, is taking Julius up on his offer to be interviewed for one of his articles. So, and this article is Re-affiliated. Hypocrite.
I know. I honestly, I still feel kind of dirty about it. But
Well, truth be told, though, I mean, I've always had problems with the hypocrisy argument because people change through life and they should be able to change their positions with more information and everything else. So, I mean, make no mistake, I will always look down on you for liking Cracker Barrel.
Well,
if I may use a stereotype.
Cracker Barrel's kind of cool, honestly.
Never eat at a place with a gift shop. That's all I'm saying.
I'm glad you guys have such deep discussions.
Yeah. Very philosophical.
Yeah.
This is one for the ages, for sure.
It's always good to get a friendly dig in amongst friends. So, Anyway, so here it is, reaffiliated with Julius Knapp, interviewed by Susan Smyers.
Yep.
So I listened to both of your
Mm-hmm. Unaffiliated and
and
reaffiliated.
right. And I had originally made some questions that I thought were pretty good,
Okay.
but then you answered them all.
Well, I'm curious though.
second
Like,
one.
what were your questions?
Well, it was I don't know. It's on my computer that died.
Oh.
No,
As
there were some
happens.
of them. Some of them were just things like, why you decided to change or that sort of thing, and you answered pretty
Yeah.
much answered all of that. So the first question we're going to ask, of course, is why you chose this topic.
Okay. Well, so I had made the decision some weeks ago that this was what I was going to do. I have not voted in a primary election since I had registered as unaffiliated. And I think the realization I had was, there's so many career politicians. The only thing they seem to care about is being primaried. And so by not being able to participate in a primary, I had given up that power, however small it might be. But I think I knew that I don't think I could think of a single Democratic candidate over the past 20 years that I would have voted for that would have like swayed or moved the needle one way or another, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Democratic Party in Maryland is pretty big, so you don't have as a single person in that big pond, you don't really have your voice doesn't really have the same weight. Whereas I felt like in the Republican Party, there was an opportunity there, at least in Maryland, to to have a larger impact. And that's really how I got there. Like I'm not thinking about platforms. I'm not thinking about like this is all like I was you know, you could say devout mathematician, I guess, in college. So to some extent, really to a large extent, for me, it kind of just came down to numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I feel like that's not necessarily the way most people make that decision. I'll still get to vote in the general for all the same people that I, would vote for otherwise. So I don't know. I does that make sense?
So
Yeah.
so you just felt like you needed to write about that and
Yeah, I think
express
I
that.
just, because I had been unaffiliated for so long, and kind of like maybe stubbornly unaffiliated, like actively resisting, having to be in like the, pick one side or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that just for me became a kind of like that's who I am. I'm deliberately unaffiliated. There was a reason for doing that originally, which I feel like maybe over time I had kind of betrayed a little bit. And
Well, you had said
so,
before that you felt the political having two political parties, I think I forget exactly how you put it, but you thought it was harmful
yeah,
to have parties. So now you have chosen a party.
right.
Does that mean you changed your mind about that?
No, definitely not. Now, maybe I should clarify a little bit. Like, I understand the kind of like base reason for having parties because campaigning is expensive, like, and it takes a lot of time, effort, manpower to build a following and see it through an election. Like that's expensive. Like you need, and I don't just mean like financially expensive, that like it costs you socially, it costs
Mm-hmm.
you, so I get the necessity for having an organization that can support people who want to run. I'm kind of opposed to the idea of a party as a platform for an ideology. Does that, so the idea that if you're Republican, then you believe this, and if you're Democrat, you believe this. And I feel like historically that's not always been the case. Like they've, uh, the parties have definitely fluctuated and changed over time. And so I think that was just kind of the, being unaffiliated was kind of like my silent protest
Well, it used to be
of
too
that
that
system.
one party was a working party and the other party was
Yeah, like
whatever.
or for business.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
and I think like growing up and like in the 80s as I was growing up, like that's how I kind of understood the dichotomy,
Yeah.
that one party was like the Labor Party and the other party was the business, like we're for the business owners and supporting.
Hmm.
But I feel like there's still a lot of that sentiment, but it's definitely changed. I don't know if changed, but it's um I don't know. I don't know if I want to say changed per se, but like
I think it's gotten away from that a little.
it's yeah. It's
Yeah, it's
definitely
not emphasized so much as it
right,
used to be.
right. But I mean, at the same time, I feel like I've never met a Republican who doesn't uh want some labor rights,
Mhm.
or who doesn't agree that there should be some limitations. And I've never met a Democrat who's always, labor is always right, and we have to like it, uh, uh, being an entrepreneur is just wrong. Being a business owner is, you know,
And
um,
we've got business owners on both sides, and we've got
exactly
blue collar workers on both sides,
right,
and
right.
yeah,
And so I've never felt the same. This party represents me and who I am, and
uh
this is, and so I need to be with my people. Like I've never really felt
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
So, if how do you believe that you can, as one person, you wanted to make a difference? So, as one person, where do you start to do that?
I mean, for me, it's just trying to let people know that here I am. I'm doing this. I'm trying to put myself out there. I'm not trying to start a movement. Well, I'm not trying to be like the leader of a movement per se, but I'm hoping that people will just see that like it's not the end of the world if you choose to register as any other party whatsoever.
Hmm.
um you're still you still believe the things you believe, and as long as you still vote your principles, then I think that's a good thing. As I've like talked to other people about this decision, and I feel like I have heard from some people who are like, well, I'll just cancel out your vote, and I'll become a Democrat, or what. It's like, I mean, if you want to join the Democratic Party because you want to try to encourage Democratic candidates to speak for you, then absolutely go ahead and do that. I don't think it's a good attitude to have, that like my vote is just there to cancel out somebody else's vote.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm going to cancel out Julius's vote.
right. Right. Um, I think voting is, one of the most important fundamental rights that we have. And I celebrate anybody who wants to like go out to the polls and suffer through those long lines in November, especially some places where there's snow on the ground already, and fortunately in Maryland we don't have to deal with that so much. But yeah,
Oh.
I know sometimes,
Yeah, sometimes we do.
sometimes,
Yeah.
but
So, well, you also said that, and you said more than one time that your political party isn't your identity,
mhm,
and we kind of talked about that, and I agree with that. But then when I look at the political environment today that
mhm.
we're in, I think it does. I mean,
It
it's
definitely
like
feels that way. Yeah,
so much more to be. It just seems like people do take that as their identity.
that absolutely
They wear it as a badge. They're,
right.
you know,
I totally agree. And
yeah.
so to some extent, like I've changed, but not changed, because it still feels to me almost like a kind of like silent protest of this kind of party system, this identity politics. I suppose you could say I've changed how I manifest that protest, but like it's still, that feeling is still very much alive for me.
Yeah. Yeah, you were talking about your sources, making sure you have good sources when you form your opinions and
Yeah.
that sort of thing. How do you know anymore with AI and with people putting?
I'll tell you, it's hard.
How do you know what's real?
Yeah, and I think the last couple election cycles, it was really hard, um, because when I first became unaffiliated and first started doing that, where I would go to like the candidate's website, and it was very common for people to publish their policy positions or whatever on their site, right? So I know I'm getting it. Maybe I'm not getting it directly through them, but I'm getting it from their campaign,
Hmm.
right? So I can know what their stance is on this or that. It's becoming a lot less common, and you can still find it. Like I'll tell you, during both of Trump's terms, in his first term, he put almost nothing on his website. It was basically just like a donation page. So to me, like that was the biggest turnoff. It's like I have no way of holding you accountable
Hmm.
for anything, and like that's an important quality. During his second campaign, he actually put a fair amount on his website. So there was a good amount of stuff there, a good amount of content for me to be able to say, okay, like there's been some thought put into this, and like there's at least like some minimum level of effort. And certainly looking at it now, it's like he's definitely kept plenty of promises. I don't agree with most of them, but I think you can objectively look at the stuff he's put out and say like, well, yeah, he's done pretty much everything he said he was going to do. Like literally every candidate, as much as I can. I looked at Biden stuff. I looked at Hogan stuff. I looked at who was a Brown that ran in, was it like 8 years ago now? He was running for governor against
Yeah.
Hogan.
So
I
you look at their own websites
I'll look at it.
to
Yeah,
find out.
yeah. I guess yeah. Just as like give you the short answer, like their website. Sometimes I'll try to find like other published articles if they wrote like an article for a newspaper.
What about
Sometimes
some of
people
these
do
things
that.
like this 1440 or these other supposed to be
Um,
legitimate? What I mean, are they good sources or?
are you thinking of like, I don't, I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah,
Are you
there's a
thinking of like Project 2024?
no, there's a supposed to be a non-biased news
Oh,
thing. It's
okay.
called 1440,
Oh,
I
so
think.
I no, I still don't look at that even.
Yeah.
Um, like I love like news aggregators. Like I look at ground news every now and then, like Google News, a lot of those things. But I try not to base my like voting decisions on any of that. And that's just because so much of it is biased one way
Mm-hmm.
or the other.
Yeah.
I'm not actually suggesting that that's wrong per se. I think it's good to acknowledge your biases, but um,
I think it needs to be separated out. Say, okay, here's the news, here's
here's like the editorial and the
editorial
commentary.
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Rather
that's,
than put it all together and make it sound like it's truth.
yeah. And that's fine. Like in my experience, I find it like really difficult for people to truly separate out like their biases.
Well, it's
And
like the
so,
difference between saying so and so walked across the street and tripped and fell in a hole.
yeah.
And then somebody else says so and so walked across the street and the stupid man didn't see what was going on because he was looking at something else and he fell.
Right. Right.
And that's how the news gets
Sure.
screwed up.
Sure. It's hard to tease that out either,
Hmm.
like for me at least, it's hard to tease that out either way. And so if I'm picking a candidate, I try not to look at any of it. I just want to hear it from the horse's mouth as much as I can.
And
you
you
know.
said you want integrity and humility
Yep. And
and
oh man,
accountability.
accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how are you going to demand that from?
I touch on it like very briefly. Like, are they making an honest effort to examine the issue and put forth like a well thought out policy? Like, can I see like, okay, this is what you observed, and this is, I reasoned from these observations to say, okay, this is the change we need to make, and this is how we're going to make that change. Um, that is like that's really what I'm talking about. Like, what is it? What is on Twitter? Like, how many words or characters you need? It's like 140. Uh, like the 140 character. Like, I had this thought and decided to just like tweet it out to the public. Like, that's not gonna work for me. Like, I want to see. Like, I had to for my graduate program, I had to write like multiple like 10-page papers, like thousands of words, and I don't necessarily need you to write like a dissertation or anything, but like a page or two would be nice, saying like, this is what we're seeing in the economy, or this is what we're seeing in society, this is what we're seeing politically, and then I can say, okay, yeah, okay, I can see that too. I could see, that this is, you might see the world this way, and
Mhm.
then like and then follow what they're saying to, if they're saying, okay, well, this is the policy we need to implement, okay, I can go with you on that. Like, I may not, that may not be like the exact policy that I would implement, but as long as I can see like, okay, yeah, I get it, and I'm willing to let you see that through.
So that would follow in what, accountability or integrity?
It's really kind of like touching on all three. Like,
Yeah.
the integrity is, or I guess it really starts with the humility. Like, can I humble myself, or can the candidate humble themselves enough to just listen to their constituents? Because I mean, we're the people on the ground,
Mhm.
right? Like, we're the people who are seeing these issues firsthand. So can the candidate listen to you, me, the community, and say like, okay, I've heard that you're telling me this is a problem. And so that's like the first step, is really the humility.
And again, without shooting from the hip and saying
Right.
something
Right.
about the other opposition.
Yeah, exactly. Not saying like, oh, this is your problems don't matter because you're
Yeah.
not voting for me. Like,
Right.
that's no good. Like, if you're going to be elected to be the leader of that community, then you're leading the entire community and not just the people that voted for you.
So.
So that's the humility aspect of it. Then
Mhm.
the integrity is like, okay, I've listened to those concerns, and I'm going to put forth this proposal. I'm going to spell it out, in detail, to say like, and it's not just going to be a soundbite like, oh, we just need to, I'll just like, uh, we just need to like throw more cops on the street. It's like, okay, well, I can agree with you, but like, what does that really mean? Like, are you going to be offer more training to these people? Where's the money coming from? Um, how are we going to address the concerns of the opposition, to say like, yeah, we're, we need more police, but we don't know, we have these concerns about like the policing of people who are not doing anything wrong. Like, how are we addressing that?
Mhm.
So that's really like the integrity, is like, okay, you're putting forth a policy, and it's going to be detailed. You're going to address concerns. It's not just going to be like this is, this is what I think, and it's going to be up to Congress to figure out the details. And then the accountability just is, can I go back and look at this in 4 years or 2 years or 6 years or whatever the case is? Can I go back and look at this thing that you put forth and say, okay, you did the thing, like or at least you tried to do the thing, and you came and you hit a roadblock. And that's fine. Like but did you make the effort? Can I go back and look at what happened and say like, okay, yeah, I can hold you accountable for the things that happened. Um, that's really it for me. Like, I'm
So,
not, yeah.
so what's your final takeaway?
What's my final takeaway? Um, for all of that,
Yeah, for all of that.
I think, or do you mean like for the essay in general?
For the essay in general.
I think in general, I want people to understand that just being a Republican or Democrat does not identify the specific policies or the specific politics that a single person might have. Like, as a platform, like, sure, it's easy to if somebody were to stop you on the street and say I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat, like, that only means anything if we let it mean something.
Uh-huh.
And if we can get past that to say, okay, well, you said you're Republican, I understand your party affiliation, but what do you believe? What do you want? What are the problems you're facing as a citizen, as an American, to say, and then like, can we work together from that? Like, that would be the takeaway. And hopefully people will, I hope people will follow my lead and say, you know what, maybe I'll go ahead and just register as a, member of the Green Party or the Bread and Roses Party, even though like they might not agree with that party, with that platform specifically.
Mm-hmm.
They know that they need strong candidates regardless of where they come from. And if they think that they can make an impact there, then go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
That's it.
So you go to run?
No, I am definitely not. Yeah, I believe it or not, I consider myself to be a big introvert, like, and like doing this kind of stuff and putting myself out there, that's really hard for me. I definitely would not expose myself to, something like
I'm
that.
right there with
like
you.
it's taken me a lot of time to kind of like get past that. But yeah.
All right.
Are you gonna run?
I'm an introvert too. No, thank you.
So wait, let me ask you a question. Like, so what kinds of things, as a new Republican, and I'm not exposing anyone's party affiliation, but like, what kinds of things do you think I should prepare myself for?
Disagreeing.
Yeah.
Disagreeing with what the Republican Party
Mm-hmm.
apparently stands for. Which, yeah, I'm a Republican, but I'm not like you. I am not that's not my identity. I don't buy half of what they're selling.
Yeah.
But
my biggest fear right now, honestly, if I'm putting myself out there a little bit, is like, I keep imagining myself standing in that line for the Republican primary, and either somebody outing me or and then like, I don't know, like, I don't know what I should expect.
You're a Democrat. What are you doing here?
Right, something like that. I don't know.
Well, Reagan wasn't he was a Democrat and he became Republican.
I've heard that. I've never
because he said his statement was, I never left the Republican Party. I never left the Democratic Party. They left me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's kind of the way I feel about the Republican Party. It's not the party I was.
Right. And it's interesting
with.
too, like, as we think about our more modern issues, like in the 90s, the Democratic Party kind of flipped a little bit. They used to be the anti-immigration party, through the 80s and the early 90s, and then it was kind of in the later 90s and on to today now, where they've become, some of the biggest supporters of immigration. And I see the same thing too on the Republican side. It was actually, there was a clip from Reagan that had made the rounds on social media, where he talks and advocates like very strongly for free trade and to be anti-tariff. You know, he talks about tariffs as essentially being a kind of social welfare for businesses.
I remember reading that too.
Yeah. And so the parties have absolutely changed. You know, they're just trying to put together coalitions. They're not necessarily standing on principles the way you or me or anyone else that we know would. So those things kind of like helped to influence, like, well, if they can, you know, if they can be one thing and then another, then maybe I can too.
Yeah, but you don't have to be anything in particular.
Right, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but that's definitely like my biggest fear is like somebody just being like angry or outraged. And, I don't know.
Yeah, nowadays you do have to worry about that, don't you?
But I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. Maybe there'll be a follow-on essay, or maybe I'll unaffiliate. I don't know. Yeah.
Cool. We're at 31 minutes
31 minutes.
on the interview. Yep.
Is that good?
We usually go about almost an hour.
Almost an hour.
It's okay. You've done great.
I thought he did really well with the talking.
The
Our first one, you know, to be fair, our first one was like 20 minutes long.
oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. We were just getting used to the idea too.
And this really brought out something.
Yeah.
Chemistry is important.
Chemistry?
Yeah.
Okay.
You and I banter a lot, and
We banter a lot.
You know, and when I'm interviewing you and you're interviewing me, we both inject our opinions. Doesn't matter who's interviewing.
I think I have plenty.
Well,
She was a very disciplined and very good interviewer, probably better than how you and I do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, also I have to say that once Julius gets on a roll, it's kind of hard to know where to jump in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I get that. I get told that a lot. My wife, who will listen to this later, is going to say, see?
That's okay.
Right.
So Bread and Roses Party.
Bread and Roses. Am I the only one that knows?
I've never heard of that. I looked it up while you were talking about it. And
I told you.
It's kind of interesting. There's not much on their own website.
There's not a lot.
They're Utopia.
But I literally, yeah, they're kind of the Utopia, like pseudo-communist party.
Yeah.
Well, I look up every candidate. If somebody has put their name on the ballot, I'm looking at their stuff.
Yeah, that's always good practice.
Yeah, and so Bread and Roses, yeah, I think it's a very small party, and it might have only kind of like popped into existence for the last couple of elections, and I'm gonna guess that they're not gonna have the funding to continue. You know, they'll probably shut down. Yeah,
Bread and Roses U.S. mentions their candidate running against Joe Biden in 2024. Yep. And it hasn't been updated since. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm fine with humanism. And they say they're also for international orientation. So, you know, having a worldview instead of just being an us view. One in pursuit of new American dream, which I kind of agree kind of needs reinvented, you know, without actually reading what their vision is. World peace and justice. Yeah, sure. No problem. That's, you know, very brother and Amish and Quaker. But as far as utopian goes, I mean, utopias tend to work small scale and they tend to be short lived.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure.
Kind of like the Bread and Roses party.
It's kind of, that's a pretty huge vision for, you know, a nation of 330 million people.
Right.
You know, but.
I have to say, whenever we were doing this, I heard a chime come through. I thought that meant that was the allotted time and that we were supposed to wind it up. So
no, I'm sorry about that. No, that was actually me getting a notification on my phone because my phone is actually linked to my computer right now. So you heard the message that you know, my wife sent an Instagram.
Oh, I thought it was saying time to wind it up.
No. No, I should have told you. Keep going. But yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so from then on, I kept thinking, okay, I've got to get this last question, and I've got to,
Yeah, I linked my phone to the computer back when I interviewed Nick because he was actually in Ohio
right.
during that time.
Mm.
So that was actually a phone interview going through my computer.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just never disconnected the two. I find it kind of nice now. I can like copy and paste screenshots into text messages.
The other thing,
So-
the other thing that would help, and I probably would throw you off completely, would be if I could get it a little bit sooner than immediately before I give the,
Oh, yeah.
so I could just give a little more thought to it.
We had done that. We tried to do that earlier on, where we would record the essay reading like a week before.
Or even just give me the topic.
Yeah.
And maybe a couple points that you were going to talk about, not that it's the actual talk.
Yeah.
Just give me some things to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like the way how you and I do it though, because where I get the fresh reaction and the fresh read, because chances are that's what the reader is going to be doing. They're going to react freshly. So
yeah.
Well, if I was to do any more, I think it just, of course, I might be fired after this, but. But if I was to do,
am I the type of person to fire my own mother?
In a nice way.
I promote you up. I give you a title and a position where you do nothing. I would never fire you.
Yeah, you would just obsolete me or whatever. But anyway, now I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Just probably the more we talk, the more I get to know you.
We'll develop our own band.
Because I mean, you don't intimidate me or anything.
Well,
so
I hope not.
Some people do, but.
So the one nice thing about this, your decision in this essay and this interview, we can now live up to our logo
with the donkey and the elephant holding hands.
Yeah,
I didn't even notice. Yeah,
yep.
Got a T-shirt.
They're not holding hands. They're
You
doing
keep saying
Zen
that.
stuff.
Where are they going?
What do you think?
They're both meditating,
right
and the elephant is slightly behind the donkey because that's the reason why you can't see the elephant's
Well, you
hand.
should have put the hands on the knees then, or something.
I mean, they kind of are.
I could have ChatGPT separate the two a little bit more.
No, you will not. I like the logo this way.
Put a little candle in between them or something. But yeah.
Oh, you could always have their arm around each other.
No, I really like this logo.
Yeah. I mean, it's if anything, the elephant is like grabbing the donkey's ass.
Well, he
is maybe
an
the back
ass.
of the leg.
I mean, by default, he would be grabbing the ass.
Grabbing the back of the leg. They're not holding hands, though, no matter what. And this is a great conversation to have with your mom.
Right. Not ass grabbing.
Well, a donkey is called an ass.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even in the Bible. So,
Stop being a prude, Brian.
Yeah. He thinks of me as being absolutely perfect. I mean, in that sort of
Let's
way.
definitely get this conversation on air.
In that sort of way. Of course,
yeah.
I
mean,
know.
People always idealize
I
their
have
parents.
had my imperfect parts pointed out by him many times. So.
And caricatured. Yeah, kids caricature their parents. I mean, it's
sure.
A kid's memory is worthless.
It's our parents.
I mean, you wait till your kids tell you, and I remember this, and you did this, and it's like you totally lost the point of that whole thing that happened.
Right.
You know, that's not why it happened, and that's not exactly what happened either. But
yeah,
totally learned the wrong lesson from that.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that's okay. It's okay. Memories change.
I mean, all kids do that.
Yeah.
You know, they have their own perspective of.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sure I did the same thing, but I was not. I was more perfect than my kids were.
So,
Yeah.
let's see here. Anything left to add? Anybody?
I don't really have anything left to add. Just whatever. If anybody's as the final thought, the only thing I'll say is please just don't vote straight D or straight R just because they're D or R. Like that's the only thing I would.
Sometimes, I feel like the job title should affect who you vote for, because
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in a crime-ridden area and you have somebody if you're a Democrat and you have a Republican running to be for sheriff, being hard on crime, maybe you want that person. But maybe you feel the place is over policed or whatnot, and so you have a Democrat running for sheriff who wants stronger relations between the community and the police, and maybe you would want to vote for that. It depends on the solution that you want.
That's exactly. Yes, it depends on the solutions.
So you gotta consider the position.
Yeah.
I mean, and then how their platform goes and how you view what the problems are that the position is responsible for, and who's offering the best solutions. And then, of course, the integrity of the person, and all that. So yeah. Every vote's a complex choice.
Yes, it is. Should be anyway.
Yeah. Yep. So I am Brian.
I am Julius.
I'm Susan.
And we are the Ascendant Project. And please like, subscribe, comment, email, reach out to us. If any of you want to write an essay and participate in this, please reach out. Understand the point of this podcast will be for you to be heard. Obviously, we'll have some governors on there, like we won't support hate speech or anything like that. But if you're feeling disaffected and you want to get your voice out there publicly about how you feel, please reach out to us and we'll see what we can do to get an essay written and an interview done.
Yes, sir.
Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you are. The purpose is to be heard. So, Julius, do you feel heard today?
I feel heard.
Cool. Awesome. But as far as feedback goes, please let us know what we're doing right. Let us know what we're doing wrong. We are found on Spotify. We are found on Apple Podcasts and also Pocket Casts, I think is what it's actually called. Yeah, so please come to our website. Yep, and message me privately or publicly or however you want.
Yep.
Am I forget anything?
No, you got it.
I got it all? Cool. Well, everybody, you guys have a great week.
Have a good one.